एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरपाओ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजुनी सैभंग गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसे भी सच। श्लोक उस्तत कर अनेक जन अंत न पारावार नानक रचना प्रभ रची बहुविध अनेक प्रकार। We start with the 10th Ashtapadi, the 10th octet of the Sukhmani Sahib. The slok which I said, I may segregate it, I may dissect it and say, Ustat kare anek jan ant na paravar. Ustat is the description, the praise of the Almighty. The Almighty's praise is ant na paravar. It is limitless, it is endless. Nanak rachana prabh rachi bahubid anek prakar. The Lord Almighty has created various forms, various living beings, various kinds of creatures. Bahubid anek prakar. And it may be so many that it may be countless, and for the sake of limiting it, we say 84 lakh June, 84 lakh forms, 42 lakh on earth and 42 lakh below the earth in water. Okay. Ashtapadi, kai कोट होए पुजारी, kai कोट आचार व्यवहारी. Now these lines of this Ashtapadi, कई कोट होए पुजारी, कई कोट आचार व्यवहारी, कई कोट भय तीर्थवासी, कई कोट बन ब्रह्म उदासी, कई कोट वेद कैसे होते, कई कोट तपीसर होते. These are actually variations of the lines which were stated by the first Patshahi, Guru Nanak Maharaj. असंग जप, असंग पाव, असंग पूजा, असंग तपताव, असंग ग्रंथ मुख वेद पाठ, असंग जोग मन रहे उदास, असंग भगत गुण ज्ञान विचार, असंग तथि असति, असंग दातार. Now this again has been stated in the 10th Ashtapadi by Pancham Patshahi. Kai कोट होए पुजारी. Many people worship God in many ways. Kai कोट आचार व्यवहारी. Many people worship God by way of rituals, by way of ceremonies, by way of putting tilak, by way of wearing certain clothes, by way of janeu, by keeping sunnat, by growing hair, by cutting hair, by wearing various forms of caps, by doing various forms of religious rituals and practices. Kai कोट by तीर्थवासी, kai कोट बन ब्रह्मी उदासी. There are still many people who go for pilgrimages. Tirath Nava Chetas Bava Vidpane Kenai Kari. Many people, these are from Japji Sahib which I stated. Many people who go for Tirath, many people who go to forests and take forms of tapasvis. Kai कोट वेद के सोते, कई कोट तपीसर होते. There are many people who recite Vedas, Bible, Upanishads, Quran, Zendavasta. It's specified by it's personified over here by Ved ke sote. Kai कोट तपीसर होते. And there are many people who then perform penances. They go for long fastings. They become very thin. They go without water. They go without food. Kai कोट वेद के सोते, कई कोट तपीसर होते. Means people try to attain God by either by knowledge or by penance or by the performance of very difficult tasks. Kai कोट आत्म ध्यान तारे, कई कोट कभी काबी विचारे. Then there are still people who do ajpa jap, who remember the Almighty by way of continuous contemplation in their hearts. And there are still some people who make poetry or read poetry for the Almighty. Kai कोट नवतन नाम तावे, नानक करते का अंतर पावे. Still many people remember and meditate on God by various names. For example, in the Shiv Mahapuran, there are various names of Lord Shiva. In the Devi Mahapuran. There are various names of Devi, 108 names of Devi, 33 names of Devi. And even to particular saints, people assign various kinds of names. कई कोट नव तन नाम त्यावे, कई नानक करते का अंत न पावे. But nobody can find the in-depthness, the unfathomed quality of God remains as it is. One cannot limit as to how tall the Almighty is, how low the Almighty is, how broad the Almighty is. There was a hymn I used to sing in school. God's love to me is wonderful. It's so high, you can't get over it. It's so low, you can't get under it. It's so wide, you can't get around it. Kai कोट भय अभिमानी, kai कोट अंध अज्ञानी. There are many people who are very proud. Their whole life goes in ahankar. Their whole life goes in ego. Kai कोट अंध अज्ञानी. And there are many people who live in blind ignorance. They live as ignoble beings. They live with ignorance. Kai कोट कृपण कठोर, kai कोट अभिक आत्म निकोर. Then there are some people who are emotionless, totally opposed to any kind of human feeling. They become very hard-hearted and they just look at people here and there. And there are some people who are so miserly that even after having all the wealth, they will not take out any money. Kai कोट अभिक आत्म निकोर. And then there are some people who are so heartless that they are totally indifferent towards another person's suffering. Absolutely indifferent. कई कोट पर दर्प करो हिरे, कई कोट पर दुख ना करे. कई कोट पर दर्प करो हिरे, कई कोट पर दुख ना करे. There are some people who steal other people's property. They live on stolen wealth. And there are some people who keep on slandering others, doing ninda of others, who speak ill of others. Kai कोट मायाश्रम माही, कई कोट बरदेश ब्रह्माही. Then there are some people who work very hard to collect wealth, to have as much wealth as they can. And there are some people who even go to foreign lands to earn wealth and to earn their living. जित जित लाओ तित तित लगना, नानक करते की जाने करता रचना. Whatever the Almighty assigns to each and every person, whatever He appoints every person to do, those people are doing in the same way, in the same manner in which the Lord Almighty has assigned them. Hukum rajai chalna, nanak likhya naal. That's why I said these verses, these lines of the 10th Ashtapadi, they are quite matching with the first Ashtapadi. जित जित लाओ तित तित तगना, नानक करते की जाने करता रचना. Only He knows, only the Almighty knows His own scheme of His own creation. कई कोट सिद्ध जति जोगी, कई कोट राजे रस भोगी. कई कोट meaning there are many, quote means millions. There are many people who are, seers. There are many people who in Hindi we call Siddh Mahapurush. And there are many people who belong to various kinds of places and various kinds of sub-classifications of saints, smaller saints, bigger saints. And then there are many kind of ascetics, yogis. There are many kind of sannyasis. Kai कोट राजे रस भोगी. And then there are people who live like kings with worldly pleasures. कई कोट पंखी सरप उपाय, कई कोट पाथर बिरक निप जाए. There are many birds and there are many sikhs. Just as I said, there are many forms of creations. कई कोट पाथर बिरक निप जाए. And then there are various kinds of trees, various kinds of vegetations and various kinds of stones also which have been created. कई कोट पवन पानी बैसंतर, कई कोट देश भूमंडल. There are many ways, many speeds at which the wind is blowing, many forms of water like river, sea, rivulets, and many kind of fires like normal fire or the fire in a volcano. It's all God's creation. Kai kod desh bhumandal. And then there are many regions, many countries, many forms of lands. Okay. All these verses which you are hearing in the 10th Ashtapadi, they bear a striking resemblance to what the first Paatshai, then Guru Nanak Maharaj has said in the Japji Sahib. Kai kod sasar sur nakhatra, kai kod dev dano indra sir chatra. Then there are so many planets. The planets, the 9 planets you see are only those planets which are having the revolutionary effects. Then there are so many asteroids. There may be so many satellites. For example, the planet Saturn has 16 satellites. Then there are stars. And there are so many suns. Patala, patal, lakh agasa agas, odak odak pal take, ved khanik bad. Then these kind of qualities which Pancham Pacha is stating is nothing but an elucidation of the first Pacha's reiteration on the creation. Kai kod dev danav indra sir chatra. Then there are demigods, rakshasas, various kinds of forms which are existing in the metaphysical state. सोदर तेरा केहा सोगर केहा चिदबे सरब समाले वाजे तेरे नाद अनेक संखा केते तेरे वामन हारे केते तेरे राग परिसो कहिए केते तेरे गावण हारे गावे तृणो पौण पाणी बेसंतर गावे राजा धर्म दुआरे गावे चित कुप तिलक जान लिख लिख धर्म विचारे गावे ईसर ब्रह्मा देवी सोहण तेरे सदा सवारे गावे इंदासन बैठे देवते दान नाले. This is again from the Japji Sahib and the first verse of the Rehras Sahib, which is actually stated in a short way over here in the 10th Ashtapadi of Sukhmani Sahib. Sagal Sambari apne sutare, Nanak jis this pave tis this tare. God has put all these things under his control, in his proportion, in his command. And the Lord Almighty is the ordering force, and according to his order the divine laws function and they take shape in the form they are. Nanak chis chis pave tis tis nastare. The way the Almighty, the way Nanak's God, which is our God also, wants his beings, his creation to function, he makes it function according to his own wish. Kai कोट राजस तामस सातक, कई कोट Ved Puran Samrit Arsasat. Then there are many people who have all the 3 qualities of Maya. The tamasic quality, the rajasic quality, and the sattvic quality. The tamasic quality is the quality of darkness, the quality of living on sensual pleasures. The rajasic is the way a person lives with ambitions, lives with worldly goals. And the sattvic is the person who lives with goodness, who lives a life of simplicity, a life of non-desires. There are various kinds of people. Kai कोट Ved Puran Samrit Arsasat. Kai कोट Ved Puran Samrit Arsasat. And there are many people who keep on reading the Vedas, Puranas, Smritis and Shastras. Kai कोट के रतन संबंध, kai कोट नाना प्रकार जंते. Many millions of jewels have been created in the oceans. The oceans, the samudra, the seas have many precious stones in it which are created by the Almighty. And like that, there are many creations on the earth also. There are many animals of different kinds who are existing on the earth too. Kai कोट किए चर जीवे, कई कोट गिरी मेर सिमरन थीवे. There are endless number of creatures with long lives. For example, the snake. So many creatures have long lives. The transmigration of the soul into various forms shows and depicts that people who have done bad karmas may be given a joni of a species which may have a very, very long life. Kai कोट गिरी मेर सुवर्ण थीवे. And then there are many hills, there are many mountains. There are many mountains which are snow clad. There are many mountains which look as if they are clad with gold. कई कोट जख किन्नर पिसाच, कई कोट भूत प्रेत सुकर मिकाज. Then there are many people who serve to the god of wealth. There are people who worship only wealth. And then there are people who worship music and they worship music as if music, the rag, is the Almighty itself. And then there are people who worship even evil spirits. Okay. Kai कोट भूत प्रेत सुकर मिजाज. And then as a result of desires being unfulfilled, there are many people who attain forms of ghosts, who attain forms of sprites, who attain forms of spirits, and depending on what they were thinking at the time of the death, which again depends on their karma, they attain the form of a pig or the form of a tiger or various forms of various animals. This is what it means. Sabte nere sabute dur, Nanak aap alipat reha bharpur. God is next to everybody, but yet he is far from all. God is next to everyone, but yet he is far from all. Karmi apo apni ke nede ke dur. Depending on the past birth's karmas, depending on this birth's karmas, some persons are close to the Almighty, some persons are away from the Almighty. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Sab mujh mein hai, मैं सब में नहीं. What it means is that रब ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ रब ਦੇ ਚੇਤੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਨੇ, ਪਰ रब सब ਦੇ ਚੇਤੇ ਵਿੱਚ नहीं है. Meaning the Almighty comprises of everybody. सब में ज्योति ज्योत है सोए, तिस दे चानन सब में चानन होए. But the Lord Almighty does not reside in everybody, which means that people are not conscious. All people are not conscious about God. Sabte nere sabute dur, Nanak aap alipat reha bharpur. And what I have said just now is stated again. God pervades in all. Nanak aap alipat reha bharpur. He is there. He absorbs everybody, but still all people are not conscious of him. Therefore, it appears that he is existing, but he is at the same time separated from all. He is not separated. It is the human conscious which has separated God from itself, due to which he appears separated. Kai कोट पाताल के वासी, kai कोट नरक सुरग निवासी. There are some people who live in underground. There are some people who, depending on their good and bad karmas, have attained hell and have attained heaven. A very good research book which I found written by Khorshid Bhavnagri, a lady who somehow managed to pierce through what is happening. Today's lady, I'm not talking about a saint, a normal lady who had some spiritual powers, and she had the in-depth power to analyze as to where the spirits had gone. And the same things, when I compared with Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Guru Granth Sahib Ji also specifies the same thing, and the Christian philosophy also specifies the same thing, that when the person dies, it is not necessary that he is given an immediate form of an animal. He may still live without a body, and when he lives without a body, those people who have done bad deeds, who are not given a body, they wander so badly that they wander with like-minded spirits in a world which is known as Nark. And Nark again has degrees. It can be Kumbhi Nark also. And those people who are enlightened, they do not get a body and they get elevated to an upper soul. Alright. And those people who have remembered their demigods go to the abode of that demigod. And after spending time over there, come back in the human form or in any other form. Kai कोट जन्मे जीवे मरे कई कोट बहु जोनी परे. The line which I said just now is a continuation, in fact, of the previous line. That is how, at the time of the death and how you have incurred your karma, kai कोट जन्मे जीवे मरे. Then they take birth, they live, and they again take birth, or they may not get a body, they may again get a body. And they may transmigrate into a number of births and deaths over a period of time. Kai कोट बैठती काहे, kai कोट गाली थक पाए. Then there are some people, who are blessed with karmas, good karmas, and they sit and they eat, and without working hard. And some people work hard and become tired, and sometimes may get their meal or may not get their meal. Kai कोट कि ये धनवंते, कई कोट माया में चिंते. And there are many people who are wealthy, and there are some people who always remain perturbed and are anxious to get riches. So it all depends on the karmic cycle. This is what Guru Maharaj is emphasizing, that the Lord Almighty has made his creation based on the karmic cycles which a person does. Karmi apo apni ke nede ke dur. जय जय बाणा तैते राखे नानक सब कुछ प्रभ के हाथे. And whatever the Lord Almighty wishes to happen, happens. जय जय बाणा तैते राखे. However and whichever way, in whichever place the Almighty wants to put you and place you, he shall place you. The Lord of Nanak, the cosmic force, Vaheguruji, God, Guru Nanak Maharaj says, Pancham Pachi says, that everything is in God's hands. So one must supplicate to God, one must surrender to God. Kai kot bhay bhay ragi, Ram Nam Sang tin ullagi. And then there are people who attain bairag. They become detached from the world. Live inni lag jandi hai. The infatuation to the Almighty is so much that they go into trance. They become bairagis. And there are these kind of people, some kind of people who always remained absorbed in the meditation of God's name as a result of their past births. Kai कोट प्रभ को खोजन्ते, आत्म में पार ब्रह्म लहन्ते. And there are many people, many millions of people who keep searching for God, and they realize God in their hearts, within themselves. Kai कोट दर्शन प्रप्यास, तिनको मिलियो प्रभ अविनाश. There are many people who are thirsty for God's side. Some people are thirsty for Guru Nanak Maharaj's side. Some people are thirsty for Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj's side. Some people are thirsty for their demigods. Some people are thirsty for the Devi. In whichever form a person wants God, wants him to connect to God, he is always in search of that form. Kai कोट दर्शन प्रप्यास, तिनको मिलियो प्रभ अविनाश. And if the intention is true, and if the intention is genuine, and if one is very, very anxious, then the Lord Almighty does meet him. Charan sharan guru ik penda jaichal, sat guru kod penda age hoye letne. You just move one step forward to the Almighty. The Almighty moves 10 steps forward to you to show you that he is present and he is with you, and he will be with you and he will show himself to you also. Kai कोट मागे सत्संग पार बमतिन लागा रंगे. There are many people who sing the Lord's name, who meditate on Lord's name in the companionship of like-minded satsangis. Like we have a kirtan, okay, and there they become one with the Almighty. Jinko hai aap suprasan nanik tejan sada dandan. And whoever is blessed by the Almighty, and when God is pleased that so and so thing must happen and so devotee must be blessed with his blessing, then those devotees start becoming blessed and are blessed. And this is what Pancham Pachayi, the fifth form of Guru Nanak Maharaj says. Kai kot khani ar khand, kai kot akas brahmand. There are many places, several places and regions and fields of creation, so many planets, so many lands, so many islands, founded, unfounded, snowy, deserts, so many. And there are millions of skies and worlds. Kai kot akas brahmand. It's again patala patala lakh agasa agas odak odak bal take ved kanak baat. This whole 10th Ashtapadi is somehow an elucidation of the Japji Sahib. That's why recitation of Sukhmani Sahib, it involves a summary reading of the Guru Granth Sahib. Various aspects of life are covered the way the entire Guru Granth Sahib is engulfed. That is why 53 to 55 parts of Sukhmani Sahib are equivalent to one reading of Guru Granth Sahib, because it's a summary form of a Guru Granth Sahib. Sukhmani Sahib is a summary form of a Guru Granth Sahib, because the entire Updesh of Guru Granth Sahib, if you go to see, is summarized in the Sukhmani Sahib. Kai kot hoye avatar, kai jukti kino bistar. And there are many people who based on their past births take rebirth in many shapes and in many forms. All this happens. Kai jukti kino bistar. And in so many forms, and such is the way the Lord Almighty depicts himself, that it is very difficult to say for an ordinary mind. Je ko kahe piche pachtaye. There are so many actions and reactions taking place, so many births and rebirths taking place, and the Lord Almighty creates everything. Kai baar pasro pasar, sada sada ek ekankar. Many a times the world extension was spread. If you go to see thousands of years ago, the world, it would have been better. There are so many lands which have been lost, so many lands which have been created. The Mohenjo-Harappa civilization, the Egyptian civilization. So many civilizations have come, they have gone. I was once reading about the Kamakhya Devi temple at Guwahati. That was one temple. After the earthquake about 1,200 years ago, the entire whole demography of the land changed. So what it means is the expansion of the world, the reduction of the world, the creation of seas, everything is in the hands of the Almighty. Sada sada ek kankar. And everywhere God is omnipresent. Everywhere He exists and everywhere He shall exist. Kai kot kine bhavat prapte hoye prab mahe samat. Many millions and crores of creations have been created, and they have all emanated from the Almighty, and they are all absorbed in the Almighty. The Almighty, the Lord Almighty, the cosmic force, Vaheguruji, absorbs everybody. Everybody is a form of the creation made by the Almighty. Taka antar jane koe, ape aap nanak prabh soe. Nobody can know the limit of the Almighty. Almighty is limitless. Ek onkar satnam karta purakh nirbhav nirvair akal murt ajoni. He is not taken any birth. Saibhang, self-enumerating. So similarly, the Lord Almighty is Beyant. He has no ant. He is limitless. Taka antra jane koe, ape aap nanak prabh soe. God is all pervading. He is everywhere. He is everywhere. He is present everywhere. कई कोट पार ब्रह्म के दास, तिन होवत आत्म प्रकाश. Many crores of people are slaves of the Supreme Being. If you see, even the person who's an ascetic, who doesn't believe in God, okay, who is sorry, not an aesthetic, I'm sorry. You may see a person who's an atheist, not an aesthetic, who's an atheist. I rectify myself, a Gnostic. Even when he says, I don't believe in God, he makes God as the center. And there are majority of people who are doing nothing but the duty of the Almighty. Sorry, the duty assigned by the Almighty. Okay, kai कोट पार ब्रह्म के दास, तिन होवत आत्म प्रकाश. And those who walk and do according to wish of the Almighty, those people become enlightened with the divine light. हुकुम रजाई चलना, नानक लिखिया नाल. कई कोट तत् के बेते, सदा निहारी एको नेत्रे. There are many who are knowing what the Almighty is, who the Almighty is, and what are His divine rules. And such people look at the one divine force with their eyes, and they have faith only in that one divine force. कई कोट नाम रस पीवे, अमर बहे सत सद ही जीवे. These kind of people, who are also plenty in number, they always remain imbued in the name of the Almighty. चढ़ी रहे दिन रात नाम खुमारी, नाम खुमारी. And अमर बहे सत सद ही जीवे. And they become immortal. And because they are connected to the Almighty, they become Jivan Mukt. At the time of the death, their focus is on the Almighty, and when they leave their body, they don't have any desires, and they become one with Almighty, and therefore they live forever. In fact, when they are alive also, they are Jivan Mukt. कई कोट नाम गुण गावे, आत्म रस सुख सहज समावे. There are still some people who do bhakti and sing the name of God. They sing the name of God, they do kirtan, they do kavali, they sing hymns. Atma ras sukh sahaj samave. And they remain absorbed in divine bliss, in true peace, and detached from the world and the worldly desires. अपने जन को साथ साथ समारे, नानक ओए परमेश्वर के प्यारे. And the Lord Almighty takes care of His subjects, His devotees, as a mother takes care of a small child. In fact, much better than what a mother would take care of a small child. He always protects him. And such people who live under the will of the Almighty and the ordinance of the Almighty are always near and dear to the Almighty. This is the 10th Ashtapadi. I am sorry if I made some kind of pronunciation or some kind of errors in the ucharan. May the Almighty Vaheguru Akal Purkh forgive me. May Sree Guru Granth Sahib forgive me for it. May Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj forgive me for it. Vaheguru Ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki fateh.